The man had been lying on the ground all day, not daring to move an inch, because right behind him was a 100-meter cliff. He dug his fingers tightly into the ground, but the sand was too loose, causing his whole body to slide toward the edge. He clutched at the sand with all his strength. Luckily, he came to a stop. Just then, the phone in his backpack rang, but if he even slightly lifted his arm, his body would slide down. So he carefully adjusted his position, pressed his face against the ground, and reached toward his backpack. But the next second, he was wedged right at the cliff's edge. Below him were sharp, jagged rocks. Hours passed, and he was on the verge of breaking down. Suddenly, he began talking to himself. He was calculating the timing of the waves, crashing against the rocks below. He planned to use the waves' force to soften his fall. Suddenly, he let go and leapt with all his might. He plunged into the sea, but the water was too shallow, and he slammed into the rocks. Using the last of his strength, he swam to the surface, but the real test was only beginning. After making it to shore, he found a gash on his hand. When he tried to stand up, he collapsed after just one step. When he woke up again, he had another wound on his head, and worse, both of his legs were completely numb. That's when he remembered the earlier phone call. He quickly dug through his backpack for his phone, but it was waterlogged and dead. Now he truly had no way out, so he shouted for help, but it was useless. In front of him was a steep cliff, and behind him, an endless ocean. He could only treat his wounds as best as he could, then lay down on the rocks to save his strength, and slowly drift off to sleep. When he woke again, a sharp pain shot through his waist. He had to get out of there. He scanned his surroundings for any chance of escape, and luckily, spotted a small island in the distance. It was his only hope of survival. He summoned all his strength, and rolled into the sea. But with numb legs and an injured hand, he could only paddle slowly with one arm. Before long, he was exhausted, and had to stop to rest on the surface. That's when a sharp pain hit his stomach, causing him to swallow a mouthful of seawater. He began sinking toward the ocean floor. In that moment of danger, he thought of his wife, and refused to give up. His desperate will to live triggered a burst of strength. He thrashed his single arm upward, and finally broke the surface again. But reaching the island was now impossible. All he could do was turn back.